All right. Thanks, everybody, for being here. As we were just chatting before we got on camera here, it's the start of the third season, the non-conference, conference, and now postseason. So it's always exciting, and there's always a little bit of a, I don't know, you kind of get a little shot of adrenaline with postseason stuff. So here we go. And we're coming off of a good week, actually. I say actually because we got the split. We didn't win 2 games, but I thought we played well both games. So we won at Wazoo, and we had a pretty solid, convincing win, which was nice. We hadn't had a convincing win in a while, where we led from start to finish, and ended up winning by 15, 17, something like that. And then played at UW on Saturday, and I actually thought our team played really, really well. We did everything we needed to do to win. Followed the game plan, did everything right, and then just kind of was part of one of those historic games where, Kelsey Plum broke the NCAA scoring record. It was quite an atmosphere, quite a game, but at the end of the day, how did we play? Did we improve? And I think we did. And so as we move into Pac-12 tournament, I think we can kind of bottle some of that up and gain some of that momentum as we move forward. So we play ASU on Thursday in the tournament, and so looking forward to just kind of, like I said, this third season in our season this season. A lot of seasons.
What was so different about this last road trip? Last time you played these Washington teams here,
Yeah.
you played Washington State really well, and they kind of pulled away at the end, but, you had a bit of a tougher time against Washington. What changed for you guys?
I don't know. After the game on Saturday at UW, we just talked about kind of how we figured ourselves out. It took maybe too long as a team to kind of figure out like what kind of makes us when we were at our best. And I think even the game against Oregon State at home. Again, this conference is just relentless. It's just a gauntlet. So, I thought at home against Oregon State we played pretty doggone good, and we did the things we're capable of doing. We played to our potential. We just couldn't beat Oregon State that game. And I think in a different conference, you play that well, you win. And so you get the reward for playing that well. So I just think we're playing well finally. Like, I think we've kind of figured out what makes us our best version of ourselves, and the team has bought into that, and the players have bought into that. So what has changed? That. I think there's just kind of a more of a buy-in and kind of a all for one for all mentality, and it's taken a little too long. There's some games that we'll look back and it'll haunt us, and if we had played like we've been playing the last couple of weeks, we would have won. But that's that's sports. Coulda, shoulda, woulda is annoying, and I don't even like to stand up here and say that. But it is the reality. So I think we're just playing well. But this conference, like I said, is ridiculous. It really is. It's insane. We're in the top 60 RPI, in the 60s somewhere, and we're the 12th seed. We lost every tiebreaker somehow. We go undefeated in non-conference and have it in the 60s RPI, and we're the 12th seed. Like, name another conference where that's even remotely possible. So that's the fun part about being in the Pac-12, and it's also the really frustrating part about it's a gauntlet, and so onward we go.
Talk about how big Paige's these last couple of games for you. I don't have all the stats in front of me, but against Washington State, she dropped 19. She was, pretty big for you guys in that Washington game.
Yeah, she had 22, I think. Yeah.
How big was she for you this last road trip for you guys?
She was great. She that's the Paige that we all know. She was shooting fearlessly and knocking down big shots, and that was the big thing our whole team did against UW. Is we just, big thing for me is where we say answer. So if a team scores, just next play, answer back, and we did a nice job of that. And Paige did that several times. But she's shooting confidently. She's getting good shots. I think offensively we're better. Everybody's scoring the ball better. We're moving the ball better. We're just playing with a lot more confidence, and it really shows, I think, how Paige is playing and how she's scoring and rebounding and defending. That's a great, kind of personification of how the whole team is playing and feeling.
You mentioned how kind of how historic that Washington game was. What was it like to be a part of that? I mean, I know it's never fun to get, to have another player go off for 60 points against
57.
you. 57.
Let's not exaggerate.
But what was it like watching, a great player just make history there?
It was spectacular. It really was. The atmosphere was unbelievable. I've played in packed arenas before, but that one, there was an electricity and an energy to it that I hadn't been a part of. The game was, like I said, we did everything we needed to do, and their other All-American, Chantel Osahor, fouled out at the beginning of the fourth quarter, and I thought, okay, here we go. This is our, we had been battling, and we were right there. We never took the lead, but we were knocking on the door, and I thought that was a potential momentum shift for us when she fouled out. And kind of counterintuitively, all it did was light a fire under Kelsey Plum, like, get out of my way. So it actually didn't work in our favor. We tried everything. I mean, we were running two people at her. We were trapping ball screens. We were pressing to try to get the ball out of her hands. And, it was spectacular. It really was. And at the end of the game, I was proud of our team. We didn't fold. We never quit. We kept answering. But, I used all my timeouts just to try to get the crowd to calm down. Like, it was just so loud. And every time she touched the ball in the last 5, 6, 7 minutes when the record was on, everyone's on their feet and screaming. And, like, as a player, I never had that experience, but I can imagine that would fuel you, and she was just, it was impressive. It was unbelievable. So, it's not like I said after the game, that's not really how I wanted to get on SportsCenter, but we did. And, you have to tip your hat. She's the best player in the country, I think, just. And the cool thing with her is she has really worked for it. She's a 5'8" kid from Poway, California. It's not like, she was put on the cover of Sports Illustrated when she was 16 as the next chosen one. Like, she has worked her tail off. She's put the work in. And you like to see players like that get rewarded. She's put the work in. And so, I commend her for that, and I respect her for that. It was impressive. It was quite an atmosphere, quite a scene. And I don't know that I'll ever experience another. Hopefully, I won't be. Maybe I get to coach somebody like that, but hopefully I don't have to experience that. But it was a pretty cool moment for women's basketball. I will say that.
Going on the road again this week for the Pac-12 tournament. Like you mentioned, you guys lost 4 tiebreakers or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You're the 12th seed. You guys go in facing Arizona State. The last time you played them, you've only played them once this year, but
right.
The last time this year, it was, kind of a tough game for you guys. You didn't really play like you could have. What are you watching for? What do you need to do to come away with a win against a really tough Arizona State team?
They are tough. They're very tough, and they are tough in every sense of the word. They're physically tough. They're mentally tough. They kind of try to frustrate you, get under your skin. And it feels like a season ago that we played them. I think it was the first week in January. And I think we're a different team. They probably are too. So I don't know how much we can look at that film and the way the schedule works in the Pac-12, there's 4 teams you only play once, and they're one of those teams we only played one time. So I don't know how much we can look at that and really pull from it and say, this is what they're going to do and this is what we're going to do, because I think both teams have evolved for better or worse as the course of the season has gone. So, but historically they're very tough. They'll make the NCAA tournament. They've been a top 20 team most of the season. I don't know that they are right now. They're right there if they're not. They just lost a really close game at home to UCLA. So, they're good, and they're very well coached, and they kind of have the thing I always say about ASU is they know who they are, and they play to their identity in terms of they're just going to be physically tough and defend the heck out of you and kind of just be physical and all that stuff and kind of make the game ugly in a way. I say that respectfully, but that's kind of how they play. We've got our hands full. But I'm looking forward to the challenge. I think it's a new season, and I think we're playing well right now. And I know our team's excited to get over there. I think, it's kind of dumb luck that we lost every tiebreaker. But it just speaks again to the strength of the conference and just how good everybody is. So, but it's a gauntlet. Whoever wins between us and ASU gets to face UCLA. Like, wow, okay. And then the winner of that game gets to face the winner of Oregon State and, whoever they play. So there's just no, it's a grind. And that tournament is going to be the best basketball in the country, everybody on one floor. It's going to be pretty cool.
So the team got back Saturday night and then had off yesterday and then practice today and practice in Seattle
Tomorrow night,
tomorrow. Yeah. How important is kind of the focus of the team's practice today at home before going on the road again?
I think it's important. I think we need to be smart, though, too. If you got to plan, everybody does, to win, right? And you just don't want to overdo it so that you're gassed, so you run out of gas. So we've got to be, I think, kind of have a mental skill day today, kind of talk about our opponent, game plan, that kind of thing, get some shots up, do some skill stuff, really kind of game plan. And then tomorrow, get after it, practice-wise, get up and down and get after it. And then Wednesday will be a pregame practice. So, but I think more than anything, physically, our mentally, we've got to be dialed in, and we will be. And just like Arizona State will be too. This is when everybody, you turn up the intensity to another level, and that means mentally too.
You guys have had some pretty great moments throughout the season. You had some struggles as well, but kind of going into the end of the season now, what would you say that you're, most proud of the team for doing? Is there a specific achievement or maybe several that...
Honestly, Jared, that's a good question. I think, time is the best thing for perspective. I don't know that I have total perspective on that yet, but I am proud of where our team's at right now. I think we went through some tough, every team does, but kind of our dog days were about 3 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, where I could sense kind of our team, we had kind of two choices. We could kind of lock arms and regroup, or just kind of let it end. And they've chosen to kind of lock arms and kind of put personal agendas aside and compete together. And it's evident in how we're playing. And so I think right now, and as I said, if you ask me in May, it might change, but right now, I think that's what I'm most proud of, is that, I think adversity teaches you what you're really made of, and we've gone through some adversity. This conference season is so hard in this league to get wins, and if you're not winning, then you question everything, right? That's just the nature of sports. Even if you're playing well, or, sometimes there's things you can't control and you don't get a win, but then you start questioning, and that's just the nature, human nature. And so I'm proud of our team for kind of responding with some grit and some fortitude, and just kind of deciding as a group, like, we're not going to let this thing just unfold and, regroup in the off season. Let's see what we can make out of the rest of the season. So that's what I'm most proud of right now.
And maybe this is, you haven't thought this far ahead quite yet, but what
chances are good that I haven't, but yeah.
What's maybe something you can take from this past season and really kind of focus on that going forward? You guys are losing Paige, obviously, and that's going to be tough, but you'll have 3 or 4 seniors next year, starters.
Yeah.
You'll have, a more experienced team.
Some solid recruits coming in.
Right. Good, solid recruits. You'll be in a better chance to compete in the Pac-12. What can you take moving forward?
Well, yeah, a lot. And I think primarily that everything matters. I think we have 16 wins right now. And if you look at a couple of our Pac-12 losses that I know we feel like we didn't play even remotely close to our potential, we win those, we're 18 and whatever, and we're probably, an NCAA tournament team, and we're a 7 seed or a 6 seed in the, it's that close. The margin for error is that close. So that's what we take from this. You can't in this conference, you can't afford to lose the ones that you're supposed to win. And those are controllables. Last year, I didn't think we lost any games that we, I think we won the ones we were supposed to win. This year, we didn't. And this is the outcome, right? Where you start questioning yourselves, and then, all of a sudden you lose tiebreaker here and there, and you're the 12th seed. And honestly, it's like 2 games. We'd be 18 and whatever, and probably an NCAA tournament team, because there's gonna probably be 7 teams in the tournament, and we'd be the 7th seed, 6 or 7 seed. Like, it's that So that's what we take from it. So when you're tired in January, or when you've got to keep your outcome goal in mind in terms of, I don't care that you're tired. I'm tired too. Like, we got to fight through it. And so's fill in the blank for a school. So's ASU. So's Oregon. Everybody's tired. You want to win. You want to make the NCAA tournament. Those teams push through that fatigue. So that's what we take from it. Uh-oh.
Every college basketball coach will say in November, you want to be playing your best basketball in March.
Mm-hmm.
When you look back at your season, tipping off back in November, long season, do you feel like through the process that you put in place and that you're at that point where you're now playing your best basketball going into March?
I do now. 2 weeks ago, I would have said no. And that's where I come back to Jared's question about what am I, like, I think we've turned, for whatever reason, and it's such a long season, there's so many variables that go into it, like, who knows why things happen the way they do. But I feel like now we are. And, the journey, the process to getting to where we're playing our best basketball has not been scripted the way I thought it would be. But we are. And like I said, 3 weeks ago, I thought we were playing probably our worst basketball of the season, which was not the trajectory you're supposed to be taking. And so, yeah, I think we are. And in a weird kind of twisted, roundabout way, we've arrived at this point where, and I think the players would tell you that too. Like, we're okay, here we go. We finally figured ourselves out and what makes us work. And unfortunately, it took us some wrong turns to get here, but like they say, like 3 lefts is a right? So we're finally where we need to be. So yes, I think we are.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys for being here.